Hey, Jonathan here. Let's handle some simple solids as we learn how to model in Rhino for complete beginners. Let's do it. Using the file provided, first of all, let's make sure that we only see what we want to see. All the exercises are here, so it's a good idea to always isolate and zoom selected every time we start. So for that, let's go on to our first row up here. We select that and we say ZS, zoom selected, and isolate. That way we can go and work freely around that particular area. So it's a good idea every time the rotate is not working properly. Okay, so to start with, we're going to start with this Vitra project. Basically, we're just going to select the example on the right side, and then using the Gumball, we should be able to perform all the necessary steps to recreate what I have on the left side. So first up is I'm going to select it with the Gumball. I'm going to go and rotate this along the red axis, holding down the Shift key. That way, I know that this is completely flat. Now I want to set it on the ground. Since I don't see the ground, this is why in Rhino it's so important to work with all of the viewports at the same time. It's usually very confusing when you only work with the top view. Now next up is, for example, let's copy and rotate at the same time. For example, I use the Gumball, hold down the Option key. Now I get a copy. Now using the Gumball again, I can rotate that particular piece into a specific direction. More or less like this. Now I can also, for example, move it in the two axes like this to set it up here. Then select the other one as well and push it backwards a little bit like that. Now remember, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It's important that you play around with the Gumball. Notice how the project that I did is not really what's done right now. But more or less, you get the idea. It's very hard for an architect not to know what that is, even though it's not accurate at all. Speaks for a coherent concept. Next up is we're going to duplicate this holding down the Alt key, going up. Then I let go of the Option key and move it a little bit further down and maybe rotate it a little bit. And that way we're going to be slowly but surely setting this down where it goes. Let's go like this. And then let's do one last one with the Gumball. In this case, I'm going to rotate it and copy it at the same time, holding down the Option key. And then you can even move it in the top view like that. Everything moves at the same time everywhere. That's it. Next up is we're going to pan right, and we're going to be using that example from the workshop of the Villa Muller from Adolf Loos. Basically, if we want to have slabs in different heights, we can do that perfectly just by using the command box. So for that, we left a couple of lines here. If you need them, you can use them. But actually, I want to show you that you don't even need them, because it's not really about being precise. It's just being able to model the concept that you have in your mind. So let's go and start the box command and then click somewhere here. So we have our first slab, and then go downward 0.25, for example. Now we have our first slab. Then now that I have the first one, actually I could just copy it up with the Gumball and do the same thing I did before. If I actually think this should be differently, I can do the spacebar to reactivate the box command and add a particular piece in this direction. And so on and so on. Now I encourage you to play around with this so that you realize that modeling in 3D has nothing to do with modeling in real life for architectural model. We can also use the modeling process in 3D to activate our creativity as we design the project that we want. The same way as we used to do when we do physical models, which is still a sculptural task as we do it here. That's it. Thank you. See you in the next one.